Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To our honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, to my fellow speakers here tonight, and to the few who have come out here continuing to practice social distancing and safety from the COVID pandemic, and to all of those who are listening online on Facebook, on YouTube, I say to all of our UNC family, good night at not such a good time. You see, brothers and sisters, we come here tonight after last week seeing this government betray the citizens of this nation once more, not once but twice. And they didn't only betray the 309,000 that voted for the UNC. They didn't betray the thousands that stayed home and didn't vote. But they betrayed the 327,000 PNM who went out and made a mistake in staining their fingers for this callous government. Brothers and sisters, all it took them to do to win that last election was to blame Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, talk about their success in COVID. Rowley, you come out with a pretty shirt like this. One of this pretty shirt. One of them pretty shirt. And all them nice songs and jingles that he bring to you. Well, let's deal with some of them jingles that they bring for you tonight. Yeah? The first one, if I remember correctly. We love you so we take good care of you. Only the PNM have a plan. What was the plan of the PNM? The plan of the PNM was to suffer the people of this country, to betray the citizens of our nation, and to fill the pockets and enrich the friends, families, and financiers of this government. When we saw last week the betrayal on Friday when Randall Mitchell came to the parliament and told this nation that through Carnival there was a revenue of $2.77 million brought in revenue. Not profit, in revenue. Now let me break it down to everyone here tonight. At the beginning, I came to them in the Senate, and I questioned the minister on January the 11th this year as to whether or not there will be Carnival, or whether or not the then Attorney General, talking about this mother of Carnival, will actually happen, and whether they have consultation with stakeholders. Well, we saw it was a mother of Mamagai, and the minister came and he said he consulted. However, we later saw that Carnival stakeholders rubbished this government's approach, meaning that they consulted with the stakeholders, and in true PNM style, they didn't listen to them, they ignored them, and they did whatever the hell they wanted to do. Brothers and sisters, with regard to staging the Carnival, I remember the Minister of Tourism, Randall Mitchell, he said, and I say for the record, arising from the COVID-19 pandemic, and in particular the arrival of the new variant and the current elevated levels of infection and hospitalization, no firm decision has yet been taken regarding the hosting of Carnival-type activities in 2022. This, brothers and sisters, was on January the 11th, a mere 7 weeks before this tasteless Carnival. And when we asked the minister who's responsible about the budget, he said no budget was identified. And then we saw, a few weeks later, on January the 31st, Winston Gypsy Peters and the National Carnival Commission come and tell this nation that there was $30 million of your taxpayers' money being put towards this Carnival. And then came the flip-flop. 2 days later, Randall Mitchell scampering and coming to us at the beginning of February to tell us, no, it wasn't $30 million. It was only going to be $15 million allocated to the NCC and $5 million allocated to sponsored safe zone events. So I want to know, this is $20 million. I want to know how much was actually spent on Carnival, not the revenue. You must tell us how much you spent on Carnival. And you must tell us who benefited from the $5 million. Because I have to ask myself the question, did the son of Junior Rogrello, the mayor of San Fernando, did he get any of that $5 million? Because we note that Joshua Rogrello, that the event was powered by the Ministry of Tourism. So tell us how much of the taxpayers' money was put to the son of the mayor of San Fernando. We want to know. I am asking, and I'm asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend, That's all I'm doing. But you see, that reminds me of the next PNM song in the election. We are the P&M family. Sign my name with a golden pen. And that is what it is, brothers and sisters. If you're a part of the P&M family, you get that golden pen to sign the checks, to sign the contracts for your friends, family, and financiers. That's what you get. So yes, true to form, you have to be P&M friend. Listen to the songs. So these are matters of concern. So this taste of carnival started with no plan. And it ended with what is the potential corruption and nepotism in the P&M. So they must answer to the taxpayers with no accountability, no tendering processes. How did that 15 million and that 5 million and what else get spent of the taxpayers' monies? And 5 weeks before this scheduled carnival, the TNT Promoters Association called it a tasteless carnival. Now, this is not the UNC telling you this, you know. This is the promoters, and this company is an apolitical entity. If the stakeholders were included, as we had asked the government, we would have seen events that would have made a meaningful profit. Not this cash-guzzling disaster that occurred, excluding everyone except friends and family and finances of the P&M. But this Rowley P&M was so blinded when we listened to the CEO, Dean Atkin, who is a well-known mass man in this country. He had indicated that the carnival ship for 2022 had long sailed. But the P&M, as I said, was so blinded that even Gypsy couldn't adhere to his song. Captain, the carnival ship is sinking. Captain, the taste of carnival seas are rough. Not even Gypsy could have done that. So, brothers and sisters, this raises another question to the government in their haste to have their friends and financiers and families whining, prancing, and whining back on bamboo in goat pens. When they were rushing to do that in the savannah, they neglected the culture workers, not just the frontline singers, you know, brothers and sisters. This includes mask makers, wire benders, costume designers, musicians, and a host of other stakeholders in this country. And despite the love that they gave to carnival in this country over the years, making carnival the greatest show in this earth, they were abandoned by this P&M in this carnival. And in the end, what do we have? Taxpayers who have lost $17.2 million or more from this botched carnival. Brothers and sisters, this money could have been used to buy medicine in the hospitals. This $17.2 million could have been used to bolster the parallel healthcare system so that many of those 3,500 and more citizens who died from COVID may have survived. This money could have been used, this $17 million could have been used to purchase electronic devices and to pay for internet for many of those 2,000 and more children that dropped out of the educational system during this pandemic. And this $17 million could have been used, brothers and sisters, to help the TTPS with resources to fight this out-of-control runaway train scourge of crime in this country. That is what it could have been used for under this minister, Ethelbert Hines. Brothers and sisters, as we are on the topic of Ethelbert Hines, this $17.2 million could have been used to buy some coffee for the sleepy minister, Ethelbert Hines. They could have buy some coffee with that, so he could have taken responsibility for crime, so that he could have taken responsibility for the safety and security of citizens, and not tell the nation that he was not responsible for making people feel safe and secure. So that he could stay awake at the wheel, so he didn't kill poor Marley, and that he didn't drop asleep in the middle of a press conference. That is what this money could have been used for. Give the man some coffee, man. Sleepy minister. But if they're not prepared to give Ethelbert Hines some coffee, we in the UNC will help him. I bought a pillow, a Pooh pillow, a Winnie the Pooh coffee mug, and a Winnie the Pooh blanket, so that the sleeping minister could get some sleep, so that he could get up and do the work of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, so that he could fight the crime in Trinidad and Tobago and stop neglecting his responsibility as the Minister of National Security. Yes, at Albertines, wake up. And you want to come, you wake up and come to Parliament and answer some questions first. Wake up and come on a press conference and not drop asleep on yourself. Brothers and sisters, after this botched opportunity, then the Minister of Finance comes with the next betrayal to this country. He comes not once, he comes not twice, not 3 times, but he betrays this nation now for a 4th time, brothers and sisters, when he comes to increase the price of fuel and remove further the fuel subsidy, pressuring the people in this nation. Let me tell this nation what this means at the pump, brothers and sisters. For fuel, for anybody with a 40-liter tank of fuel, or premium or super, you are going to pay $40 more to fill your tank. And if you have a truck, like a Hilux with diesel, you're going to pay $30 more every time to fill your tank. Every fill. So can you imagine for a moment, a taxi heading from Port of Spain to San Fernando, the increase of the fuel prices? Who is going to bear that cost? It is the citizens of this country who will bear that cost. And I'd like to recognize the arrival of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. Who is going to bear that cost, brothers and sisters? It is the citizens of this nation who will bear that cost. But don't worry all yourself. Listen to the PNM song. Left foot, balize. Right foot, balize. Because get accustomed to it. Is left foot and right foot. You're going to have to walk now. Because you can't afford to take taxi. You can't afford to drive your car. You can't afford to go to work. So you and your children, when they go to school, will lose your left foot and your right foot with the balize, man. That is what you're going to do. Now, let me tell you very quickly what is going to impact this nation with this fuel price. As a businessman, let me tell you all this here today. The cost of everything is going to skyrocket. But let me talk about food, the most essential to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I am going to give you a synopsis. A distributor, whether it is imported food or whether it is locally grown food. A farmer and a fisherman needs fuel for their tractors and for their boats. What's going to happen? The cost of kingfish going up, the cost of grouper going up, the cost of cauliflower going up, and the cost of baigan going up. That is what is going to happen. And let us talk about imported food. We are already saddled with the supply chain issues in this country, with increased freight costs, and with a government who is so uncaring that they would not do like Guyana and take away some of the VAT on the food coming in. That is what they're not prepared to do. But let me break it down to you now. When a company has to distribute food to a supermarket, what happens? Sales reps and merchandisers have to drive and sell the food. Their price of fuel is going to go up. Then they're going to ask their companies for more money for fuel. Then to transport the goods to the supermarket, price of fuel going up, increased cost to the country. Then the people who come to work in the warehouse, either through taxi or through their own vehicle, the price of fuel is going to go up. They're going to ask the company to increase their salaries. And what is going to happen then? The company will increase the price of the food. Then they will take it when it goes to the supermarket. The same thing happens. The workers in the supermarket also will ask for more fuel. They will ask for more money for fuel. And so therefore, they will increase the price at the shelf. So who is going to suffer from this price increase of the fuel? It is going to be the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who are going to struggle to pay the high price of food now. But what does the government have to say about that? This is going to cause a spiraling rise in the price of our economy. And the fault lies at this government. All goods and services are going to go up. Because it is the Minister of Finance who sat down like an emperor on his chair with the IMF and said to the IMF, I raise price once, I raise price twice, I raise price a third time, and they ain't riot yet. So I might come and raise the price again. And true to his word, he has come here to raise the price again, and the country hasn't rioted yet. And so I say to you today, brothers and sisters, and then he comes to you and tells you the economy is doing well. What has he done to improve the economy? He's responsible for increasing the economy? Is he responsible for the war in Ukraine that carry up the price of fuel? Is he responsible for the COVID pandemic when he locked down this country unjustifiably? And then when he opens back up the country, do you not expect economic growth? Do you not expect when the construction sector opens back up, we will get economic growth? But the people of this country must never forget, they must never forget that the economy declined by 7.4% in 2020 and by 10% between 2015 and 2019 before the COVID. Then coming and insulting the people of this nation with increased prices of fuel. So as I close, brothers and sisters, as I said and done, this PNM government has failed in every major respect of governance. It is a fact. And if you didn't see it evident before, you see it evident now. The closure of this refinery has resulted in our citizens being pushed back with increased oil prices. The government's incompetence and corruption has resulted in $17.2 million being wasted in Carnival, gifted to friends, family, and financiers. So try to say to my citizens, be ready whenever Keith Rowley calls that election bell, that you put him out of his political misery and vote them out of office. The PNM has become so desperate now, they once more depend on songs. What is the song they're depending on now to fool you? Now we have to hear them say, somebody touch me, somebody touch me, somebody touch my soul. So if the Prime Minister wants to now resort to biblical words, let me tell him something during this season. I want to remind the Prime Minister and the PNM of another prayer. Matthew 25, verses 31 to 46. When I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. But the PNM government has left mass joblessness and struggling to provide food for their families, and they have kicked them out of the PNM plan. And the final part of that scripture, it says, on verse 40, whatsoever you do the least of my brothers, you do unto me. My brothers and sisters, the PNM government has hurt the brothers and sisters of Trinidad and Tobago. And by their betrayal, and by extension, they have hurt God. And God does not sleep. I call on the citizens of this country, don't get God out of your thoughts in the next election. Don't be fooled by the gimmickry of songs. Riot with your finger and elect a caring government that is run by Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who will be our next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Come on, people. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
The People's Revolution.